Edward Thatch, or Blackbeard, was a famous English pirate who worked on the east coast of British colonies and the West Indian Islands. Survivors of Edward Thatch often described him as having a terrifying appearance, tall, broad-shouldered, with a very thick black braided beard. He used to wear dark clothes and long black shoes, in addition to hanging what looked like torches under his hat to strike terror into the heart of his enemies. After the Anglo-Spanish War, Thatch settled on the island of New Providence in the Bahamas, which was the base of Captain Benjamin Hornigold, and here our story starts. Captain Hornigold appointed Thatch as captain on one of his ships. Then they started their adventures together, which did not last long, as Hornigold retired, taking the advantage of the royal pardon. The royal pardon was a wise action by the King of England to diminish the piracy problems, as the pirates will be free with keeping what they had already gained with the condition of retiring from piracy. Edward Thatch refused to take advantage of the royal pardon and continued to bring terror to the seas. Thatch seized a powerful French ship called La Concorde, which had a group of slaves on board. He freed them and recruited many of them to work with him. Edward re-equipped the ship with 40 cannons and 300 pirates. He renamed his new ship Queen Anne's Revenge. With Suki's strong qualifications, he continued his terrifying style. Thatch was creative in his attacks. In one of his adventures, he allied with another pirate, Stede Bonnet, and besieged the port of Charlestown, surrounded the city's residents with his men, and took a ransom in return. In spite of the terrifying appearance of Thatch, he was not so violent. As an example of that is the famous adventure of the Margaret ship, which was captured by Thatch in 1717. Thatch controlled the crew and their captain Henry Bostock, and they have been kept for 8 hours, forced them to watch him loot their ship, and after that he set them and their ship free without harming anyone. Edward included Stede Bonnet, Israel Hands, and his crew, and continued his adventures, and the number of the ships accompanying him increased. The name of Blackbeard became terrifying as soon as his ship with the black skull flag and the other red flag appeared. After finishing the adventure of Charlestown, Blackbeard knew about the movement of the man-of-war heading to western colonies to face the piracy. Man-of-war was a line of very strong ships which had 3 masts 60 meters long, loaded with more than 120 cannons, so Thatch and his fleet escaped, trying to avoid a losing battle. Bonnet took advantage of the royal pardon and left his ship on a small boat. He surrendered himself to the governor and obtained a pardon. Upon his return, he found that Blackbeard had plundered his ship and fled. Bonnet tried to find Blackbeard to take revenge, but he failed. He returned back to piracy after gaining a royal pardon and was arrested and executed along with his crew. During Blackbeard's escape, his ship, Queen Anne's Revenge, ran aground on a sandy island, and attempts to extract it failed, which led to severely damaged, main mast being destroyed. He ended up leaving it and sailing on another smaller ship, which he called Adventure, heading to Bath, where he monitored the ships he could seize. Charles Vane, another English pirate fleeing from the man-of-war, joined Blackbeard, in addition to Israel Hand and Cleco Jack. This group of pirates became so worrying that the governor of Pennsylvania sent to ships to arrest Blackbeard, but he failed. Blackbeard accepted a royal pardon from the governor of North Carolina, but he continued his piracy against the rest of the neighboring colonies, which angered the governor of Virginia, Alexander Spotswood. Alexander Spotswood decided to entrust the task of eliminating Blackbeard to a competent English naval lieutenant named Maynard. Maynard found Blackbeard at Ocracoke Island, but his ship ran aground in shallow water, giving Blackbeard the opportunity to attack him with his cannons. When Blackbeard was sure that the battle was over, he jumped onto Maynard's ship with some of his men. But the surprise was that Maynard was hiding and waiting for him with his men. A duel took place between them, which Blackbeard almost won, but Maynard suddenly shot him with his gun dead. Maynard cut off Blackbeard's head and hung it on the bow of his ship, and this was the end of one of the most feared pirates in history. Follow, subscribe, and activate the button to receive the rest of the fun pirate history series.